guys, welcome back to Kids Carroll. Today I'm just going to be building computers from in this PC building simulator. Building computers from the cheap range to the overkill range. Then of course in the middle we have our in-between. So let's start off by, on the cheap one, let's get a relatively tiny cube case. If we can. Yes, this only fits mini ITX, so we're going small here. So I am going to keep these stock fans, but I'm not going to put new fans in for this. So let's start off with our mini ITX power supply. I mean, not power supply, motherboard. If you're following along so you know the retail price is not very accurate in this game. So if you are interested in like actually building this, just look at the actual price of the parts so you don't get like confused. So let's go ahead and lift the CPU socket. And let's put the slowest CPU we can find. That would be this. Okay, cheap cooler now. Need to find the cheapest cooler on the market. Aha. That's where how the thermal paste already spreads. And then here, let's go ahead with 2 GB stick. Because smallest possible. If you're actually gonna game, at least do 8 GB. 2, not nearly enough. So storage, a single 120 GB, 160 MB a second. Mechanical drive. Trying to open this. Okay, there we go. I need to close the drive bay. It's kind of tricky. So next we should power supply 250 watt, because that's the least amount you can have in this game. Kind of knowing how it's modular, because who on the planet would buy a power supply this small and have it modular? Like, there's no point. You're just wasting extra money. Like, who's even gonna buy it anyway? I guess there are people that will buy it, but still. So next, I think that's almost everything. Yeah, graphics card. So graphics card is last. We're currently going with the worst in the game, GT 1030. Which one's slower? Okay, they're exact same speed. But okay. Now we just need to put this on. Need to unplug that. Put this on. And then put all of the panels back on. In real life, leave this panel open to make sure you didn't make a mistake. But yeah, we need to install the operating system. Oh, yep, I made my own mistake. I didn't wire it. So we are gonna benchmark them comparing scores. So keep in mind, this is like worst possible one. I'm not gonna mess with the clock speeds of any of them. I'll just leave them all at default, except for RAM. I will turn on extreme memory profile. There we go. Powering on this beauty. Oh geez, this is so slow. Finally. Benchmark it, we must. I can tell this tiny little mechanical drive is just like, mercy, please. Boom. So I do not think this has extreme memory profile, and it does not. So everything's recognized correctly. Let's just I don't want to make sure. I don't want to make sure I change. I want to make sure I didn't change anything. I can't talk today. So while we start this, it's Copper for Likes time. Say hi, Copper. You need to show yourself. Copper for Likes time. Yeah, you're good. Okay, Copper for Likes time is over. We're currently getting 11 FPS in the CPU physics test. This is how you know you have a monster of a computer. I'm just kidding. So, yes, we have the extremely high frame rate of 6 frames per second. This is, like, so smooth.
At least it can play Tetris.
Yeah, at least this computer can play Tetris. I'm just kidding. This is not very smooth. So, we wait. Oh, jeez, this is so bad. Well, the thing is about computers is if you spend double the money, you're not getting double the performance. You're getting up to like 8 times that amount. So if you can spend double, because you're getting a huge performance boost, and you won't have gameplay that looks like this. 1116. That's to be expected. So now for our next one, let's go with a mid-tower. No, not tower 4. That does not exist. A mid-tower case. So this one I will swap out some of the cooling stuff. So again, here's our parts list if you're interested in building this. We're going to move these fans because I'm going to place separate fans in later on. Okay, so first thing, we need to do our motherboard as always. But this time, I'm going to go AMD. AM4 for the AM4 socket. And then we're still going single card here. So let's go ahead and do a mini ATX or micro ATX. Yeah, micro ATX. This is actually the motherboard size I have. So that's why I think it's a great value. $90, and this is even overpriced for the game. So probably get this for really cheap. So let's use one of our 2 memory channels for this. You know what? Let's use all the channels. So first thing, we're not going to overkill, but we're going for a huge CPU boost. Let's go for our AMD Ryzen 5 6-core 2600X. Those extra cores will be useful for like streaming if you're into streaming. My CPU is a 4-core and it does just fine, but if you're looking for the best performance possible, 6-core or 8-core is the way to go. So our RAM. What's a gaming computer with an RGB? So let's go with this 3200 megahertz little kit thing into all of our slots. Oh wow, $120 each. Oh jeez. RAM is more expensive than I initially thought it would be. But again, this game is not very accurate with the pricing. It's usually like way too high. So let's go ahead here with a 500 watt power supply. Again, we're not going modular because you kind of have this little thing to hide the non-modular cables. So yeah, oh geez, yeah, I forgot about the CPU cooler. No, let's go with an AIO. You need fancy though. Yeah, let's do this one. It shows the CPU temp. Oh jeez. Okay, yeah, let's do a shorter one. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Okay. I know that doesn't have RGB. It just mainly uses it for the CPU temp. So, real life, you could go for a different option, but this is like my personal preference here. So, our storage. Let's do an M.2 1 terabyte. So, I don't want to go for something that's too blazing fast, because that would be expensive. Let's go with this one. And then alongside that, most people would put, like a separate mechanical drive for their mass game storage. Let's go with 1 terabyte. So if we run out of space on this, we'll have more on this. But make sure your boot device is the fast SSD. So now I'm gonna put the rest of the fans in. We need RGB. This needs to be unicorn barf. Yeah, I feel like you'd go for. Nope. Okay, it has to be like that. Okay, graphics card. So for a moderate gamer, I'm gonna do something that's not too expensive. So probably a an RX 560. Don't want anything like too overkill. Ooh, look at that. That looks fancy. So now, missing cable, so we need to plug it in, of course. From here to here. Plug it into the fan headers on the motherboard. You can plug the fans into fans in this game. I'm not sure if you can do that in real life, though. Incomplete case. Stop complaining. This seems to be the definition of RGB. So, side panel. Boom. Here's our system. In this game, it's almost $2,000. In real life, it's more accurately like 500-ish. So, oh yeah, I was gonna click the power button to be fancy, but kinda need our boot device to boot to the operating system. Okay, power on, or flash drive, I should say. The boot device is going to be the fast SSD in there. CPU overclocking I'm not going to touch, but I will enable extreme memory profile. So we make sure we're getting the maximum speed that our RAM is built for without overclocking it. Like, you could go a little further than the XMP if you have good cooling. Let's see the system. Yep, this is RGB. Oh wow, the ROG logo looks pretty nice. Ooh, actually, we need to put the PCI lock back on to make sure our graphics card doesn't come tumbling out at random. Don't make that mistake like I did in real life, because that would be bad. So our CPU started benchmarking. You can see that the CPU temperature has rose. It's still pretty cool though. Like down here is like we're like instantly shut off. I did not mean to take off that panel. So we're still pretty cool in this game's term. But I try to keep your CPU temperature as low as possible. If you can overclock, go ahead. It's just going to generate more heat. Yeah, we're getting performance on this. But in actual gaming this will be better. Because this is photorealistic, I think. So real life gaming, you're probably going to be able to like 1080p, 60 FPS, highest settings. With this system, what card do we have again? RX 560. Yeah. Depends on the game, though. You know what? We're at this price range. Let's bump up the graphics card. This graphics card is not, like, good with the CPU we have with it because it's yeah, sure, they're, like, similar price, but the graphics card's always going to be the most expensive, so if you want to, you can do a 560, but I'd rather go with the 5700 XT. It's a, like, Asus Republic of Gamers. I'm going to go with this one. But do keep in mind, the more powerful cards do need better power supplies. So if you have under a 500 watt, you should upgrade to a 500 watt or higher for a card like this. But again, we're fine here because it's 500 watt. Republic of Gamers. Okay. Now let's benchmark it. So, so the 5700 XT in this game costs $840. I am fairly sure in real life you can get this for like $300 if you're lucky. Especially with the new cards coming out. That have been coming out. The price is going to drop on these relatively quickly. Okay, as we can see, like a 1 generation leap on graphics cards. It's gotten us like an extra 50 frames per second. I know it's not exactly a generation, it's a generation and a card up, so huge performance boost. Without spending a huge extra amount of money. And keep in mind, the next one's to be completely overkill. I don't think anyone's going to be able to afford it at all. Unless you're really rich or you're like a company has money or something. So 8,000. Our score went up by a huge amount. So for this one, again, I'm not going to overclock, but I'm going to show you afterwards if we do overclock it, it's going to be in power. So I'm going to compare it on overclock, then I'm going to overclock it to show you its full potential. So for this we need an Obsidian 1000D, which is a super tower case. It's super tower. By that I mean I'm not messing around. This is like the largest computer case you can buy. Or at least I think so. But yeah, let's take off some our PCIe covers and take up all of them except for the last two, because it depends on the motherboard. It can be weird sometimes. So our motherboard. Okay, you'll never guess the socket. It totally is an STRX4. And which one's the fastest RAM speed? That would be this one. Prepare for the unaffordable monstrosity that I'm going to create. '64 core Threadripper. Get in there. Okay, we got that. Thermal paste. I can do a custom water cooling loop for it later on. Yeah, this doesn't have bottom. Okay, yeah, it doesn't have bottom. Trident Z Royal. If you are for some reason doing this in real life, be very careful with the RAM. It's like $400 each on every one of these. So if you're doing this, all I have to say is be careful. Otherwise, all of this would happen for, well, you would lose a bunch of money for nothing. Okay, let's move this drive bay. And let's go. Oh no, I don't think you're ready for this. 2 terabyte. Not 2. Speed, I say. Like almost 5 gigabytes. 5 gigabytes per second. So, boop. And then the boop. Can't fit anymore. Aha, proved you wrong. Just need a different size for one that goes over here. Where does it go? I'm looking for M.2 slots as we speak. Where is it? Okay, I guess we're skipping that one. Okay, now, because I can, sure, there are a lot of SATA SSD slots, but that's too many for our motherboard to handle. So, instead, I'm going to go for mass storage. And boy, by mass storage, do I mean mass storage. A bunch of 4 terabyte mechanical drives. Okay. So now, for our power supply, going with a 1600 watt power supply. Supernova 1600 T2. In case you are, in fact, for some reason making something like this, I don't think any of my viewers are, but maybe in the future, I don't know. Maybe in the future when this is like $200, I don't know. Oh, no way. Did I miss a slot? Okay, no, I didn't. I thought I did. So now, let's put our graphics cards in. We have to go 3090 of this, because the most powerful card in the game, RTX 3090. And then this one is faster than this one, so I'm going to go with this one. Kind of sucks that this is the only 30 series card in the game. And they still don't have an SLI texture for it on most things. Some of the cases in motherboards it actually does, but it's like insanely hard to find them. So for some reason they just don't use the same texture. They just use the replacement texture until they actually get a real texture that already exists. But okay, now it's time for our custom water cooling loop. So boop. Get a radiator. $200 radiator. See, they don't have. Yeah, I don't think they have water cool 3090s, even though they're not coming up results because all the slots are filled, except for this very bottom one, but we don't have any PCIe slots left on our motherboard. It's insane. Needs 3 power cables. Okay, so now we're here. Let's do radiators. 480 millimeters. Or centimeters. Is it measured by millimeters or centimeters? I think it's, yeah, it's centimeters. Okay. Okay, now we need one to go back here. And then we can't mount a radiator up here, so I'm just gonna go with 340 mil RGB fans to match our RGB water cooling. The only part about it is that's not RGB, I think, is the radiators. Now let's plug all of these millions upon millions upon millions of cables in, even though it's actually not that many. It's a hyperbole, okay? So, get used to it. So close. There we go. I need to we need to plug in our reservoir. Okay, it says we're missing cables. Oh yeah, we need to plug in our power button. We need to plug in our fans and our radiators. Okay, now time for the loop itself. So it comes out here. So you're gonna go into this radiator. Will come out onto the CPU block, into these ones right here. They will head back down to the reservoir to get pumped out. And then we need coolant. What color coolant? Let's match our Our radiators, let's go with white, opaque. Looks like milk. Cheese. Okay, now I can see it being pumped through as it's filling it up with the coolant. The cooling fluid. All the way down into the reservoir. Okay, incomplete case, so I'm just gonna put all of this together again. I think it's just the dust filters. Yeah, it was. So there is no operating system currently installed. Did we ever benchmark this? Okay, yeah, we did. Yeah, okay. Power on. Okay, now we're in the BIOS. I'm gonna overclock our RAM to its XMP. So let's see if we have this right. We have 256 gigabytes of RAM. Completely overkill. It recognizes the GeForce RTX 3090 chipset, which is good. It recognizes our storage devices, again, which is good. And everything's fine. Let's apply changes and restart. And because we are going dual 3090, we have to install some extra features. Select wallpaper, yes. Oh wow, look at this. The $17,000 monstrosity. Or at least that's what the game says. I'm not entirely sure what this would be in real life. Probably closer to 15,000. But, oh yeah, we need to fix the wallpaper. Steam Workshop. Here we go. 3090. And ready? My mouse moved, hold on. So click in 3, 2, 1. So not okay, that's a lot smoother, but when we're overclocking it's gonna go like yoink. So I'm surprised it's working this stable at such a low voltage right now. Because if I overclock it even a tiny bit with the same voltage, it's completely unstable. Woohoo! Look at that! Almost 200 FPS on this. Okay. Okay, why is my real life computer stressing on this? It sounds like a sonic jet right now. I don't know if you can hear it though. 23,672. So now, let's actually go ahead and overclock it. Because that's what all of this cooling right here is for. .5 volts. There we go. Now that it's overclocked, let's see our score either go up or down. Depends on if I overclocked it too much. But I'm expecting it to go up. By a little bit. As we can see, the water cooling loop is running. Fans are spinning. Reservoirs pumping. RGBs RGBing. Then I didn't overclock the graphics card, so this part's gonna be the same. And when I start this again, my real computer starts stressing out for some reason. But yeah, recording alone is using 15% usage of my CPU. Okay, yeah, our score did go up slightly. But that's for I can't talk. That's it for this Kids Carroll episode. Remember to like, subscribe, share with a friend. Remember, never eat soggy waffles unless they come from a compass. And down in that corner, if you go down, there's this Kids Carroll logo. You click that and then click the subscribe.
Oh, and